Honourable Joe Goodhue.
Mr Chair, well, it gives me great pleasure and pride to rise today, this afternoon in the House, or this evening it is now, and to talk about the progress that has been made under this national government as we address the financial review. But I want to begin by actually speaking briefly about the previous opposition member who conducted herself in a way that could best be described as personal attacks on the minister. She signalled that she will deal in personal attacks, in nameless gossip, and lastly, I think the best descriptor of all of that member's claims, and they have now been going on for a couple of weeks, are simply wildly imaginative. And I want to deal first with the claims she has made repeatedly about the Ashburton Hospital facing cutbacks. Now, this has really pained the people of Mid-Canterbury because they are on edge. They have lost their theatres because of earthquake damage, and they are waiting for the date when these theatres will be rebuilt. The Minister himself has signalled they will be rebuilt. And repeatedly, in print, I say to the member, the Minister has signalled, and the Chief Executive of the DHB has said that it pains him greatly to have to come out again and say in the newspaper, there is no doubt, nothing is being cut, nothing at all. And the people of Mid-Canterbury are saying, well, clearly we cannot trust this Labour Party spokesperson who is simply feeding us wildly imaginative tales and worrying us about our health services. Absolute bollocks it is, absolute bollocks. I'm finding it really difficult to not laugh out loud right now. So let's go back to what we saw under the previous Labour government and then move on to the good news under this national government. Waste and bureaucracy. Those 30,000 patients that were culled off the waiting list, patients waited for up to 15 weeks for cancer radiation treatment. Many were sent to Australia. Do we remember those front-page headlines of those patients who went to Australia? I certainly do. One of the close-to-my-heart stories, funding for Plunket Line was cut despite demand for parents, but National reinstated it. And during all those years, the Labour government said rheumatic fever was a priority. Yes, well, we don't really imagine we saw any evidence of action on that front. So just to briefly go over some of the things that have been achieved, because I think members of this House, particularly the opposition, should remember that when we talk about numbers, we're not just talking about figures on a piece of paper, we're talking about human lives. We're talking about children, we're talking about mums and dads and babies, and these are the very New Zealanders that actually are gaining from the national government's performance. E-health is an important one. The ministry continues to facilitate e-health, and we've got 14 DHBs already transferring patient records electronically to new GPs. But I want to talk about some of those numbers. Shorter waiting times in emergency departments has risen from 80% in 2009 to 94% of patients being seen, treated or discharged from hospitals by the end of 2011-12. In terms of improving access to elective surgery, well, in 2007-08, 118,000 procedures were completed. In 2011-12, there was a record 154,000. The numbers speak for themselves. They are real people who had procedures done on them. Percentage of patients receiving radiation treatment in 4 weeks, 100% achieved. Members, that is a stunning achievement, because what that means is people getting treatment for their cancers. Immunisation for 2-year-olds has risen from 82% in 09-10 when we started, measuring the performance to 93% in the 2011-12 year. It's gone so well, we've changed the target to the earlier target date of 8 months, meaning babies' lives will be saved. Better diabetes and cardiovascular services, well, by 2014, 90% of the eligible population will have had that cardiovascular risk assessed within the last 5 years. We're helping smokers to quit smoking. In 2007, only 18% of smokers in hospitals were offered assistance to quit. By 2011, 84.6%. Stunning figures, lives in fact.
That's right.
Dr. Cam Calder, you're not going to take the call? Well then, no other member seeking a call. The question is that the report of the Health Committee on the 2011-12 financial review of the Ministry of Health be noted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, I understand the next financial review members wish to debate is the financial review on the Ministry of Education. So the question is that the report of the Education and Science Committee on the 2011-12 financial year of the Ministry of Education be noted. Chris Hipkins.
Don't know how to turn it on. There we go. The microphone's working. I tell you what, Mr. Chair, though, it may be karaoke night here.